Okay, hello folks. We're working our way down through the material here in Module 1. At this point, you should have worked through the W3 Schools material. Notice there's a voiceover there about that material. You should have also worked through the required items for all the programs in this class. You should have worked through the constructor and destructor walkthrough, and the private methods and properties and data item here. So at this point we're down to using try, except, and else, and finally with object mutator methods inside Module 1 of the class. So I'm going to click into that material. Now, before you look at the code down here, you should read through this material on W3 Schools about how try and except works. Once you've reviewed that, you can read this material on how a programmer can raise an exception. And then lastly, you can look at the sys-exit material. Now, to give you a little background, the sys-exit allows us to cleanly exit a Python program. You can use it anywhere in your program if you want the program to just stop right there. So the sys.exit is done by importing the sys library. Once you've got the sys library imported at the top of your program, you can call sys.exit and the program will cleanly stop at that point. Okay, so the try keyword in Python lets us try some code, and if some sort of traceback error happens, we can handle it ourselves rather than letting Python just blow the program. And so we can catch that error and do something about it. So here's the code. A mutator method is one that's going to set some sort of private attribute of a class. So you can see here, here's our class definition for a person object or a person class. Okay, constructors there. And you can see that the constructor is giving a value to a private attribute _name and a private attribute _age. Okay. Now here we have the definition of a mutator method. Sorry, let me drag down to the whole method. Okay, that's the definition of a mutator method called setAge. Mutators, usually the convention is to put set in front of the whatever the mutator is going to change. So this mutator method is going to take one argument called a that's going to have the age in it when we call that, and it's going to go through a try, except, and else set of code. So let's talk about what happens here first in words, and then we'll go run the program. So if we run this create this class right here with set a object up named Billy, instantiating an instance of the person class, and we run this, the constructor is going to receive the name and the age, and it's going to set those items into the private attributes. No problem there. But once we've got this Billy object in place, if we wanted to change the age, we could do a billy.setAge. Okay, now this is going to cause an error because age is not an integer. You can see it's an empty string. So when we run this code, it's going to run this method. It's going to get right here where it's trying to change a into an int, and it can't change that empty string into an int. So a traceback error is going to happen. But because we're inside a try, except, and else block, we're going to be able to handle the traceback error. Okay? So immediately when it sees that it can't convert that empty string into an int, it's going to jump down here and it's going to do whatever code is here in the except part of the code. So you can see what it's going to do. It's going to cleanly print invalid age, and then it's going to call sys.exit, and it's going to exit with that error code so we can actually see what happened. So clean exit, and it's going to show us that error code. It's not going to do this code right here at all. Okay? Now that's one scenario. The other scenario is that we give it an invalid age. Okay? So if we are able to convert the age that comes in to a number, and it's say 140, well, there's nobody alive today that's 140 years old. So we're going to catch that error right here. And if you read the material on how to create your own error, we're creating our own traceback error right here called invalid age. Now when we do this, it's actually going to jump down here to the except, and it's going to print invalid age, and then it's going to raise an exception that's invalid age, and our program is going to end. And this code down here is never going to happen. So now that we've talked through it, let's switch over to Tawny and see what really happens when we run this program. Okay, here we are in Tawny. Just what we were looking at. I'm going to comment this out right now, these two errors, so you can see that nothing happens down here in the shell when we run this. Everything's fine. Okay. Now I'm going to uncomment the billy.setAge, and you can see that we will get an exception, and it'll be talking about some not being able to convert to base 10. So here we go. Okay, see where it says system exit invalid literal for int with base 10? That is coming because we caught the error right here. We caught the exception, and we sent it to the sys.exit. So we're actually seeing the exact error that happened. That's real handy when you're trying to figure out something that happened. Okay, and here's where we printed invalid age. So that was the first scenario. Now let's comment this one out and uncomment the set age with the invalid age. There's nobody alive that's 150 years old. So our if statement right here should catch that error and catch that situation, and we're going to create our own exception. It's still going to print invalid age, but we'll see something different down there when it runs. So here we go. Alright, and you can see, what does the system exit say now? Invalid age. And we also printed invalid age. Now we could have gotten more specific and said age is not greater than 1 and less than 130 or whatever. You could have been more specific with it. But this example is something that you're going to need when you go to do Project 1 for the class. Thanks for listening. Hope this helped, and good luck with the rest of the material. You should be hopping into the BMI object example next.